morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. As you can see, I've got Tim Draper with me, as the announcer said, legendary investor. Tim, before we get into what turns you on as far as investments is concerned, what makes you tick and what you've been doing, I've also been reading that you can survive on 3 hours sleep and you go to hundreds of these events throughout the year. How was your journey?
Oh, these legends. I try to push these legends wherever I can. Oh, I've been all over the world, and it's been really extraordinary. We're doing, with Meet the Drapers, which is showing on Thursday morning, we're doing it here. We have done the Olympics. We're doing the Olympics of startups, and so I've visited many, many countries. And I've been traveling around the world visiting these countries, and it's been wonderful. One thing I've got to mention is I went to the LEAP conference 5 years ago, and it might have filled that many seats.
Yeah.
And all this, I mean, I think they said there were 1,500 people or something. There are 250,000 people at this conference.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia has seen the startup light, and great things are happening. I'm so thrilled to be here.
No, it was extraordinary yesterday. We were getting emails saying the venue is at capacity. We'd had an announcement in the morning saying almost 250,000 people had registered. So that was a real sign of the enthusiasm and excitement about this event and startups. And obviously you've mentioned Meet the Drapers. This is your own TV series where you are going around in a way auditioning people's ideas and then crowdfunding or crowdsourcing to get that investment. Where did the idea for that come? And are there certain regions or areas that you think are more open to that sort of thing?
Well, it's interesting. About 15 years before Shark Tank came out, I was in LA, in Hollywood, trying to promote the idea. And nothing happened. Then Shark Tank showed up. And because I love what I do. I love being a venture capitalist, and I like the idea that other people can see what I do. Interview these entrepreneurs that are showing me what the future is going to look like. It's fantastic. So I always kept an eye on it, and when crowdfunding came out, I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting. The viewer can invest, and but I don't think the SEC had anticipated the idea that somebody would do media and crowdfunding together. And so we have since just made it crowdsourcing. And so everybody can vote, everybody can play an investment game, and eventually we hope to get crowdfunding back. But the show has taken off, and it's been so much fun. And I do it generally with my sister and my father, and it's Meet the Drapers, but we always have great guest judges. We're going to have Sultan. We're going to have some interesting guest judges here. In India, we had Sri Ravi Shankar, the guru, and the show is just so much fun, and we think we're actually maybe transforming the venture business because we see so much deal flow from that.
And obviously, it's not just the show, it's everything. You're a third-generation venture capitalist. You've been sniffing out entrepreneurs and good ideas for most of your career. What is it that you think now is the essence of when you find it, or who it is, or what it is?
Yeah, I do sniff them out in one way. I try to be a magnet for entrepreneurs wherever they may be, whether they're in Saudi or Sri Lanka or Tokyo, wherever. And we want any entrepreneur out there who wants to start a business, we want them to start by thinking Draper first. What do I look for in an entrepreneur? It tends to be that I look for something that is a new surprise for me, because I mostly do the very earliest stages. And so I'm looking for something that surprises me. And then what happens is I'll fund the first one, and then we'll see 30 or 40 Me Too's. And sometimes it's one of those that ends up being the big winner. When we meet the entrepreneur, I always ask questions like, why are you doing this? Because most people will be put on their heels by that, and they'll be saying, well, because George thought I should, or, I want to make money, or I want to make you money. But the great entrepreneurs, when they hear that question, they lean forward in their seat and they say, because I worked with this company before and they didn't get it and they didn't understand, and now I'm going to show the entire world how awesome this can be. And then the absolute best ones are the ones who say, I want to delight my customer. So at the end of all that, they say, I want to figure out how to delight my customer.
So you're looking for something messianic. You're looking for that sort of almost swivel-eyed determination.
Absolutely, and that's why we had a guru on the show. We thought, well, he has a messiah quality. But yes, I think the best entrepreneurs are going to do it no matter what, and they're going to suffer the consequences, which often are horrible, and sometimes reap the rewards, which often are so extraordinary that they sort of change lives in so many ways. And generally for the better, but sometimes it's really very awkward.
Now, obviously, some people wear their heart on their sleeve, but you're wearing one of your passions on your tie today.
I am. I have both the Draper Associates logo and the Bitcoin logo here. It also says #DGov, which is decentralized government. I think everything's going to be decentralized in another 10 years, and I think it's all because Satoshi Nakamoto came up with this Bitcoin, which is a decentralized currency. And that currency, I think, can move humanity to a new anthropological level. I think it can move humanity up. And we'll become a richer society around the world because money can move faster, we can trust money more, and it keeps perfect records, and it's global.
You're obviously a true believer, and I get the idea that trust in financial institutions and banks was very, very low when you started investing, which is more than 10 years ago, so you're a proper early adopter. I get that. The secrecy side of things, where we are now, a lot of people saying, well, actually, most of the adopters of these are not the good guys. They're the bad guys. The ransomware incidences, the blackmailing instances, the cybercrime are all, many would see them intrinsically linked.
So it turns out that the blockchain keeps perfect records. If you want to be a criminal, you should use cash, because no one can trace that. But the U.S. Marshal's Office has basically said they kind of like Bitcoin because they can catch every criminal. And it's because they can watch the movement of the money. And they just follow the money and they catch them. So I don't recommend for people, I mean, it's sort of a short-term gain and then long-term you're in jail. So that part is a misconception by a lot of the people. You talked about trust, and I have come to the conclusion, I've been able to travel all over the world. I visited 78 or 80 countries. I've done business in maybe 60 of them. And I've come to the conclusion that there are really two things that really matter for a government. And one is trust, and one is freedom. And I said that to the guru, and he said, trust, freedom. You can't have freedom without trust. You can't have trust without freedom. And then I came to the conclusion that President Xi, President Putin are weak leaders. And people say, weak leaders? What are you talking about? And I say, well, they don't trust their people, and they don't set them free. They try to control them. So you have weak leaders who try to control everything, and then you have strong leaders who trust people and set them free. I have been thrilled at what has happened in Saudi Arabia because these leaders have trusted their people and set them free and attracted other people to their country. And I know it's happened all over this region, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. A lot of places have have started to really trust their people and set them free, and I think it makes all the difference. It's the difference between being in North Korea, where they don't trust you to do anything, and South Korea, where they trust you to do everything.
And Tim, is that where your innovation index comes from? Because
yes, you have done your research.
Well, I was really interested because I think you've been ranking countries on how you perceive how free they are or how free businesses are to make money and so on.
But it turns out it's not my perception, although I do advise, it's data. Those rankings are totally driven by data. I put in some of the data elements and recommend them to the data group. It's an independent data group, and they come up with that ranking. And it's interesting how dynamic it is. I think countries are recognizing that they're accountable, or they're in competition with each other for the people, the entrepreneurs, the money, the jobs of the world. And so they need to improve. And having a ranking like that encourages countries to improve.